Hey everybody, Dave Anderson from TNG, and I'm excited to have the chance to talk to another one of our alumni, Lynn Thomas. Lynn, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you, Dave?
Very good. It seems like just yesterday you were part of the group, but you've been actively employed for a while now. Tell me how it's going, and tell me a little bit about what you're doing.
Ah, very good. Yes, I've been employed now since November, and it's going very, very well. I am an instructional designer at Car Global, working with the uh, HR team actually, and providing internal training material. So it's been a great adventure so far.
Well, that's great. I know that as we were working with you, instructional design and trying to find, not every company has that. And I know that finding kind of the place to get you in was a bit of a challenge initially. And tell me a little bit about kind of that process of how you kind of figured out where to go and who to talk to and how to find some of the opportunities that ultimately led uh, to where you are now.
Yes, I had originally, as everyone I'm sure has started, just perusing the internet looking for positions. Um, but the unique thing about working with TNG is if I found a position I was interested in, I had a group of people I could connect with and say, does anybody know anybody else here? So that was really, really helpful to me. I did find the position actually on LinkedIn, and I had originally applied for the position back in February or March of last year. And as we all know, COVID changed everything. So I then um, reapplied and did find some connections and was able to reach the HR recruiter. And that's where it took off from there. Arranged interviews, um, and TNG definitely helped me prepare for those interviews. I was able to do a couple of mock interviews with Bruce and for other positions, so that helped me get my confidence back. And the position here at Carr, when I first interviewed with the person, was kind of a disaster. And I was puppy sitting, and there was a cat involved, and I had a puppy and a cat crazy barking and yelling and all over the place. I would lose my train of thought. It was just, when I hung up the phone from the HR recruiter interview, I thought, well, I've lost this one. So
I remember you coming back on and saying, "I don't know that it could go any worse," and those are the best ones, especially the ones that then lead to that opportunity.
So, yes, and I think what helped is that I wrote my thank you letter within an hour of the interview, and I owned it. I acknowledged it. I said, and I made light of it as well. And I remember one of the lines in there to the recruiter is, if you've ever had a puppy, you know they bark at air molecules and love to terrorize cats. So I have since found out that almost everyone at Car are pet lovers, and we've had several Zoom calls where pets are part of the process. So anyway, it really worked out.
That's great. And we were talking before we started taping here, kind of about how it's been such a good fit for you. And what I really wanted to hear from you is there is a perspective, especially for anyone who has lost their job. Oftentimes there's a rocky road before that happens, and sometimes you wonder whether you're ever going to get back to a good fit. So tell me about that kind of. I'm so happy now that you really feel like you've kind of found your place, you found your people, found your tribe, if you will. So talk about how that process worked out through as you were looking for your new work, and kind of what it means now to be in that space.
When I interview for a job, I'm interviewing them just as they are interviewing me. And, I found a lot of good fits along the way, but this one just fit right in. It's really hard to explain, but I was looking for a home. And I actually articulated that to my interviewers. When they asked me what I was looking for, I said, yes, I'm looking for an instructional design position, but moreover, I'm looking for a home, a place where I can expand my own skills, a place where I can feel part of the team and be uh, respected for that. So um, this particular company, as I said, I also found through a friend of a friend, again, the networking thing, I was able to connect with him, he used to work there. He left on his own to advance his career, but he said nothing but good things about the company, about how people were very respectful, how people just really worked well together. And that's what I was looking for. So I took a chance. You know, you never know that everything always looks good from the outside, but
Yeah,
it,
but that's part of what we teach you is being able to go in and get that insider information,
yes.
and that's so helpful.
There
So
was another member of TNG as well, Mary, who also used to work there, and she was sadly laid off, but she still had nothing but good things to say about the company.
yeah, and that's so helpful because again, that's the last thing you want to do is to walk into a position where it's going to be a struggle or you're not sure what the culture will be.
Right.
Well, tell me, Lynn, because you were in the job search for a little while, what was the most surprising thing that you had to figure out, or the thing that you just didn't expect that you had to learn while you were searching for your next job?
I guess what I didn't expect is that my experience would not be as highly regarded as it once was. It was a struggle because it was more in how I presented myself, I guess is the word. But it was more also how I had to totally revamp my resume from the very beginning. I mean, it was a whole learning experience there, and trying to get past the ATSs. And TNG was a big help in helping me structure and get that going. Um, but it used to be that if you had a ton of experience, they wanted you. They wanted your experience. Now that's not the case. It is almost who you know, um, and how you can get your foot in the door by networking your way in.
Yeah, and I think that is so powerful. Even though it's just in today's world with technology, it's so you have so much competition that you don't even realize. So people
Exactly.
that just play that apply game, unless you're the cream of the crop, it's really difficult. And even if you are, you're taking a shot that your resume happens to show up on the top of a pile one day.
Yeah. Yep. So
So, what would you say to somebody who is just starting a job search, and is really trying to figure out what their next step should be? What would you recommend for them in terms of things that they can do to try and get themselves into the best space to have success?
especially now in I think COVID has helped us all reevaluate what it is we really want to do. And then once you have decided this is the direction I want to take, definitely work with professionals in getting your resume ready. That to me is critical. I always thought I had a wonderful resume. In fact, it always got answered up until recently. So, yeah, so work with professionals in that, and just expand your network. I would attend some webinars on LinkedIn, and at the end of the webinars, I wouldn't know a soul, but by the end of the webinar, I did. And I would connect with them on LinkedIn, and I still have conversations with some of them. So just expanding your horizons, getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, that's the thing about networking that's interesting too is that, the challenge with networking is there's no guarantee that if you go out today and connect with somebody that you're going to get an outcome from there. But
Right.
the benefit of networking is you never know when you make that connection where you might run and bump into that. So tell me a little bit. I know networking was kind of one of those things for you that you worked on a bunch as we were
Yeah.
going through it. So how has that impacted not only your job search but what you're doing today? You touched on that a little bit, but tell me a little bit more about how networking, how you found it, and how you've been able to use it as a tool.
It was a struggle for me at first. I've always been very independent, never had to rely on someone else to help me find a job. So it was, and I had my little network of friends, but I knew everyone, and they weren't fluffy relationships or fluffy links on LinkedIn. So it was a struggle for me. As I said, I would attend a webinar and then reach out to the people after the webinar. That was huge for me. It's sort of, you know like going out into a crowd and just introducing yourself. That's very, very difficult for a lot of people, and it was for me. So I now have a lot more confidence, and the fact that so many more people are meeting this way, it's I'm not ashamed to, I wasn't ashamed to say I'm looking for a job, because so many other people are too. And it's okay now. It's good. People are accepting. And you don't have to say, help me find a job, but just being able to know them. I've had some people say, hey, oh, I remember you from whatever, and they've reached out to me. Are you interested in something like this? So it, it's it's huge. It's huge, and it's okay to do.
Yeah, well, good, and I'm so glad that you found yourself that kind of that space. It looks like it's going to be really good. So, Lynn, thanks so much for taking your time to talk with us. Continued best of luck. Really appreciate it, and we appreciate what you've been able to do, and glad you've been able to be a part of TNG.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, TNG really helped me get back on my feet. It was a great source of support. And I know I've made friends, lifelong friends at
Mm-hmm.
TNG. So thank you for your help.
All right, thanks, Lynn.